A military helicopter cuts through the cold mountain air above Jalisco, Mexico. It is Sunday, February 22nd, 2026. Below, the pine-covered ridges of Tapalpa sit quiet. Population 7,000. A town most of the world had never heard of. That is about to change. The Mexican army had a location. They had intelligence. And they had been waiting for this moment for over a decade. Troops descend. Within seconds, gunfire erupts. 4 cartel members are killed at the scene. 3 others sustain injuries and are detained. One of the wounded is loaded onto a transport helicopter heading toward Mexico City. He is 59 years old. He has a $15 million bounty on his head placed by the United States government. Most people have never seen a clear photograph of his face. His name is Nemesio Rubén Oseguera Cervantes, and the world knows him as El Mencho. The transport does not complete its journey. During the transfer, the convoy comes under attack. The military engages. 3 of those being transported sustain fatal injuries. One of them is Oseguera Cervantes. By mid-afternoon on February 22, 2026, the Mexican Secretariat of National Defense confirms it publicly. The founder and undisputed leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, the most powerful drug trafficking organization in Mexico, is dead. You think that is where the story ends. It is where it begins. Within minutes of that announcement, something happens that no single arrest, no single raid, no single military operation had ever triggered before. Mexico does not grieve. Mexico ignites. Roads across 20 states are blocked simultaneously. Not one state. Not a handful. 20. It's more than 250 barricades materialize across the country within hours, as if the order had been preloaded, pre-positioned, waiting only for the signal. Vehicles are set on fire on major roads. Guadalajara, a city of 5 million people, a scheduled host city for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, becomes a ghost town by nightfall. Travelers sprint through its international airport. The footage circulates within the hour. Smoke rises above the beachfront hotel districts of Puerto Vallarta. Schools are canceled. Businesses close. Public transportation suspends. The U.S. Embassy issues a formal shelter-in-place advisory for American citizens across multiple Mexican states. And then the numbers start coming in. 25 members of Mexico's National Guard are confirmed killed in Jalisco alone. And not in the operation that took El Mencho. After it, in 6 separate coordinated retaliatory engagements. A prison guard is killed in Puerto Vallarta during a detention facility disturbance. A state prosecutor's agent is killed in Guadalajara. The total confirmed fatalities among civilian and security personnel across Jalisco, Michoacán, and Guanajuato in the 24 hours following the announcement climbs steadily through the night. Ask yourself this: what kind of organization executes a nationwide response of that scale within hours of losing one man? That question is not rhetorical. It is the most important forensic question this case raises, because what happened on the roads and in the airports and on the streets of 20 Mexican states on the night of February 22nd was not spontaneous. Security analyst Gerardo Rodriguez, speaking to AFP in the hours that followed, was direct. Authorities had anticipated some form of reaction. No one anticipated its national reach. That word, anticipated, tells you something critical. The intelligence apparatus on both sides of the border knew a response was coming. The scale of what actually occurred exceeded their projections. That gap between what was expected and what materialized is where this investigation lives. Subscribe to the Case Files Collective right now if you want to follow this investigation all the way through. Every chapter goes deeper. Every chapter adds new evidence. This is not a summary. This is an examination. Because here is what the official timeline does not fully explain. The White House confirmed U.S. intelligence support for the operation. U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau publicly described Oseguera Cervantes as one of the most ruthless drug traffickers in the hemisphere and called his death a major development. The Joint Interagency Task Force Counter Cartel, a standing bilateral structure through which U.S. Northern Command works directly with the Mexican military, was involved in the operation. This was coordinated at the highest levels, and still, within hours, 25 National Guard members were dead. The operation found the most invisible man in the Western Hemisphere. What it could not do, what no single operation can do, was dismantle what he spent 15 years building. El Mencho is dead. The cartel he built is not. But before we trace how one man with no formal education, no family dynasty, even no inherited criminal network built the most powerful drug trafficking organization in the modern history of Mexico, you need to understand what the smoke rising over Guadalajara on that Sunday night was actually telling us. It was not mourning. It was a message. And the question that every analyst, every intelligence official, and every government on 2 continents is now asking is the same one you should be asking right now. Who sent it? The announcement lands at mid-afternoon. By nightfall, Mexico is unrecognizable. This is not reaction. This is execution. 253 roadblocks, 20 states, simultaneously. The coordination required to produce that result in that time frame does not happen organically. It was pre-planned, pre-positioned, and triggered by a single signal: the death of one man. The Guadalajara goes dark first. 5 million people. Major commercial corridors shut down. Residents receive warnings, implicit and explicit, to stay indoors. Videos surface within the hour. Travelers abandoning luggage, sprinting through Guadalajara's Miguel Hidalgo International Airport. Departures suspended. Arrivals rerouted. A city scheduled to host millions of international visitors for the 2026 FIFA World Cup looks, on this Sunday night, like a city under siege. Puerto Vallarta follows. Smoke rises above the hotel district. Ride-share services suspend operations. Taxi networks go offline. Some domestic and international flights cancel due to road blockades cutting off airport access entirely. The U.S. Embassy does not wait. Formal shelter-in-place advisories are issued for American citizens across Jalisco, Tamaulipas, Michoacán, and Guerrero, and Nuevo León. Then the casualty reports begin. 25 members of Mexico's National Guard are killed in Jalisco alone. 6 separate coordinated engagements, not accidents, not isolated incidents. 6 simultaneous retaliatory strikes executed across one state in a single night. A detention facility in Puerto Vallarta erupts. A prison guard is killed. A state prosecutor's agent is killed in Guadalajara. Confirmed fatalities among civilian and security personnel continue climbing across Jalisco, Michoacán, and Guanajuato through the early hours of Monday morning. Security analyst Gerardo Rodriguez tells AFP directly, authorities had anticipated a reaction. No one anticipated this. That gap is the evidence. A criminal organization that can mobilize 20 states, sustain 6 coordinated military-grade engagements, and shut down a city of 5 million people within hours of losing. Its leader is not a cartel built around one man. It is a machine, and the machine is still running. If this investigation is giving you a clearer picture of what actually happened that night, subscribe to the Case Files Collective now. New in-depth documentaries every week. No filler, no noise. The question every intelligence analyst on both sides of the border is now asking is not who ordered the response. The question is how deeply that command infrastructure runs and how far back it was built. To answer that, you have to go back to a rural village in Michoacán, to a boy with no education, no connections, and no future that anyone around him could have predicted. Because the machine had an architect, and his story starts in a place that looks nothing like power. Siculotitlan, Michoacán, 1966. It is not a place that appears on most maps. A rural settlement inside the municipality of Aguililla, deep in the Tierra Caliente, the hot land. A region defined by two things: poverty and violence. Not the kind that makes headlines, the kind that is structural, generational, and invisible to everyone who does not live inside it. This is where Nemesio Rubén Oseguera Cervantes is born on July 17, 1966. He does not finish primary school. There is no record of formal education beyond that. No inherited criminal network. No family name that carries weight in organized crime. What surrounds him in those early years is subsistence agriculture, avocado farming, and a landscape that has been contested by criminal organizations for decades before he is old enough to understand what that means. As a young man, he grows avocados, the same crop that will later make Michoacán one of the most violently contested territories in Mexico's cartel wars. He is not yet a player in that world. He is a laborer in it. At some point in his early adult life, he crosses into the United States illegally. No verified date, no documented port of entry. He surfaces in California, where he becomes involved in narcotics distribution networks operating in the state. In 1994, the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California convicts him on federal charges of conspiracy to distribute a controlled substance. He is sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. He serves his sentence. He is deported back to Mexico. That deportation is the hinge point of this entire story, because Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes does not return to avocado farming, and he does not retreat. He does not disappear into the rural landscape that produced him. He goes deeper into the only other industry the Tierra Caliente has reliably offered. And this time, he is not a low-level distributor in a foreign country. He is home. He is experienced. And he is watching which direction the power is moving. What he does next, the calculated, methodical steps he takes to climb inside one of Mexico's most dangerous criminal structures, is not the story of a man who got lucky. It is the story of a man who had a strategy. A deported federal convict returning to one of Mexico's most criminally saturated regions has two options: disappear or climb. Oseguera Cervantes climbs. His first calculated move is one that most analysts still find remarkable in its precision. He joins law enforcement, specifically municipal police in Jalisco. On paper, it is a legitimate career pivot. In practice, it is something else entirely. A badge provides cover. It provides access to intelligence about ongoing investigations. It provides contact with officials whose cooperation can be purchased or leveraged. In the corridors of organized crime, a police uniform is not a barrier. It is a resource. He does not last long. His criminal associations are identified. He resigns or is removed from the force. But the contacts made inside that institution do not disappear with the badge. He moves directly into enforcement work. He attaches himself to the armed unit protecting Armando Valencia Cornelio, known as El Maradona, a significant figure in Michoacán's criminal landscape at the time. This is not a leadership role. It is a proving ground, a place where capability is demonstrated and loyalty is tested. He proves both. From Valencia Cornelio's orbit, he moves upward. He aligns with Ignacio Coronel Villarreal, known as Nacho Coronel, a senior leader within the Sinaloa cartel's Jalisco operation, one of the most powerful figures in Mexican organized crime at that time. Oseguera Cervantes is now a lieutenant inside the most dominant criminal structure in the country. Still not a boss, but closer. And then comes the move that security analysts would later identify as the structural foundation of everything that follows. He marries Rosalinda Gonzalez Valencia. Her brother is Abigail Gonzalez Valencia, the leader of Los Cuines, a Michoacán-based criminal organization with sophisticated money laundering networks, financial infrastructure, and institutional reach that a purely enforcement-based operator could never build alone. Security analyst David Saucedo summarizes it with forensic clarity. Oseguera Cervantes reached the cartel's highest levels through a strategy of diplomacy via marriage. He brought operational violence and enforcement capability. The Gonzalez Valencia family brought financial architecture and organizational legitimacy. Together, they are the foundation of something neither has yet named. That changes in 2010, and it changes violently. 2010 is the year the architecture cracks open. July 29th, Mexican Army forces locate Ignacio Coronel Villarreal in Guadalajara. He is killed in the confrontation. The organizing figure around which an entire regional criminal operation had been built is gone in a single afternoon. Simultaneously, Oscar Orlando Nava Valencia, the leader of the Milenio Cartel, the structure under which Oseguera Cervantes and others operate, is captured by Mexican authorities. The Milenio Cartel does not survive the loss of both figures. It fractures almost immediately into two competing factions. Los Torcidos, La Resistencia. They fight for control of drug trafficking routes through Jalisco and the surrounding states. The conflict is brief and decisive. Los Torcidos win. By 2011, Los Torcidos rebrand. The Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG, and Nemesio Rubén Oseguera Cervantes, the avocado farmer, the deported convict, the lieutenant, is now at its head. What follows is an expansion that security analysts would later describe as unlike anything in modern Mexican criminal history. But the CJNG's defining characteristic is not its speed of growth. It is its relationship with the Mexican state. Older cartels avoided direct confrontation with government institutions where possible. Corruption was the preferred tool. Pay the official. Own the institution. Stay invisible. The CJNG makes a different calculation entirely. August 2012. Mexican security forces launch an operation targeting CJNG leadership in Guadalajara. El Mencho is not captured. Instead, cartel members deploy dozens of vehicle barricades across the city. Major roads are blocked. Vehicles are set on fire. Guadalajara is paralyzed while leadership escapes. It is the first public demonstration of what the CJNG is willing to do. It will not be the last. It is also, forensically, a dress rehearsal for what happens on February 22, 2026, 14 years later, in the hours after El Mencho's death. The template was set in 2012. The organization simply scaled it. By 2015, the U.S. Treasury Department formally sanctions El Mencho. Federal indictments in Washington, D.C. accumulate. Criminal association, narcotics trafficking, illegal weapons possession. The DEA begins to track the CJNG's territorial expansion with increasing urgency as the cartel extends its operational reach into more than 20 Mexican states. The machine is being built in plain sight, and its architect is becoming impossible to find. By 2019, the DEA reaches a conclusion that reframes everything. The Jalisco New Generation Cartel is responsible for at least 1/3 of all drugs entering the United States through air and sea routes. One organization, 1/3 of the entire supply chain. Former DEA agent Matthew Donahue states it publicly and without qualification. El Mencho is the #1 priority for the DEA and for federal law enforcement in the United States. The U.S. State Department responds by raising its reward for information leading to his capture to $15 million, the largest bounty the department has placed on a drug trafficking figure at that time. And still, nothing. Part of what makes this forensically remarkable is not that he evades capture. It is how. El Mencho does not build a public profile. He does not appear in narco corridors. He does not surface on social media. He does not grant interviews or project personal fame alongside criminal power. Only a handful of photographs exist. Most are decades old. Investigators working his case describe the challenge in stark terms. They are hunting a man whose face most of their sources have never clearly seen. He moves constantly. He avoids electronic communication wherever operationally possible. He constructs an organizational structure deliberately designed to function without his direct daily command. The CJNG does not need him in the room to operate. That architectural decision, made early and maintained consistently, is what keeps him free long after everyone around him starts disappearing. Then there is his health. By 2020, credible reporting confirms that Oseguera Cervantes suffers from serious kidney disease, severe enough that he constructs a private medical facility in a rural Jalisco location specifically to manage his treatment. A man dependent on regular medical intervention cannot move with unlimited freedom. He requires equipment. He requires personnel. He requires a fixed point in space at regular intervals. That fixed point is a vulnerability. In February 2022, multiple Mexican outlets report he has been killed. Kidney failure, some claim. A cartel confrontation, others report. The Mexican government does not confirm either account. Both are false. He is alive. He is still in command. But the rumors themselves tell investigators something important. The circle around him is beginning to talk. By 2022, his wife Rosalinda Gonzalez Valencia is arrested by Mexican authorities. A woman who provided the financial and organizational foundation of the entire enterprise is now in custody. The network that built the CJNG is being systematically taken apart, one family member at a time. And somewhere in a location no satellite has yet pinpointed, Nemesio Rubén Oseguera Cervantes is running out of people he can trust. The question investigators are asking in the rooms where this intelligence is being processed is not whether they will find him. It is whether he will survive long enough to be found. Intelligence work is not a single breakthrough. It is pressure applied consistently across every available surface until something gives. By 2020, the pressure has a pattern. Rubén Oseguera Gonzalez, El Menchito, is El Mencho's son and his most visible designated successor. In February 2020, he is extradited to the United States. He is currently serving a federal prison sentence. The most natural line of succession inside the CJNG is severed at its first link before the decade begins. The organization absorbs it. El Mencho remains in command, but something has shifted. The family architecture that provided both legitimacy and operational trust within the CJNG is now exposed as a target. And investigators on both sides of the border begin working it systematically. November 2024, U.S. agents arrest Christian Fernando Gutierrez Boa in Riverside, California, El Mencho's son-in-law, a high-ranking CJNG operational figure. What makes this arrest forensically significant is not the capture itself. It is the method of concealment that preceded it. Gutierrez Boa had faked his own death. He had constructed an entirely false identity and was living in Southern California under an assumed name. The deception was elaborate enough that El Mencho himself had reportedly told associates that he had personally ordered his son-in-law's death for disloyalty, an elaborate cover narrative designed to protect someone who was in reality hiding in plain sight 40 miles east of Los Angeles. That level of operational deception requires trust, coordination, and communication, all of which leave traces. February 28, 2025. Mexican authorities recapture Abraham Oseguera Cervantes in Jalisco, known as Don Rodo, El Mencho's older brother, so regarded by investigators as one of the CJNG's founding figures and its primary financial infrastructure operator. His recapture removes the man most responsible for moving and concealing the organization's money. Early 2025. Antonio Oseguera Cervantes, El Mencho's brother, identified as a logistics operator responsible for weapons supply and coordinating engagements against rival organizations, is extradited to the United States. Map it out on a whiteboard, and the picture is stark. By early 2026, every senior family member investigators have been able to identify is either imprisoned in Mexico or serving federal sentences in the United States. Son, wife, brother, son-in-law. Fewer trusted people means fewer secure channels. Fewer secure channels means more exposure. A man requiring regular medical treatment cannot relocate indefinitely. A man without his family network cannot communicate securely through the intermediaries he has relied on for 15 years. The intelligence picture is narrowing to a single point. Tapalpa, Jalisco, February 22nd, 2026. But how exactly the military locates him there, and what the operation looks like on the ground in those final minutes, is where this investigation goes next. The intelligence does not arrive in a single moment. It accumulates. A man requiring regular medical intervention. A family network systematically removed over 5 years. A communication infrastructure stripped of its most trusted intermediaries. At some point in early 2026, the accumulated pressure produces a specific coordinate, a specific location, a mountain town in Jalisco that most people outside the region have never heard of. Tapalpa, elevation approximately 2,000 meters above sea level, population 7,000, pine forests, cobblestone streets, 1 hour south of Guadalajara by road. It is not the kind of place that announces itself. That is precisely the point. The Mexican army moves on a specific location within Tapalpa on the morning of February 22nd, 2026. And the operation is coordinated through the Joint Interagency Task Force Counter Cartel, a standing bilateral structure through which U.S. Northern Command works directly with the Mexican military. This is not an improvised raid. It is the product of sustained intelligence collection across multiple years and multiple jurisdictions. Troops reach the location. They come under fire immediately. The engagement is direct and brief. 4 CJNG members are killed at the scene. 3 members of the Mexican Armed Forces sustain injuries and receive medical treatment. Armored vehicles, rocket launchers, and additional weapons are seized from the location. The forensic inventory of what is recovered at that site tells its own story. This was not a temporary safe house. This was a fortified operational position. El Mencho is wounded. He and 2 others are detained and placed aboard transport heading toward Mexico City. The Mexican Defense Secretariat would later confirm the transfer explicitly. He died of injuries sustained during the engagement in the course of his transfer. During that transport, The convoy comes under attack. The military returns fire. 3 of those being transported sustain fatal injuries. Nemesio Rubén Oseguera Cervantes is among them. A U.S. defense official confirms American military participation while designating the operation as Mexican-led. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirms in a formal statement that the United States provided intelligence support. U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau calls it a great development for Mexico, the United States, Latin America, and the world. Or the specific intelligence methods that produced the Tapalpa location have not been publicly disclosed. They are unlikely to be fully revealed. What the available evidence does confirm is this: the operation was precise. It located a man who had successfully evaded the combined intelligence resources of 2 governments for over a decade. It did so by closing every exit, 1 family member at a time, until only 1 door remained. That door was Tapalpa, and walking through it cost lives on both sides. The question that now falls to every analyst, every government, and every intelligence apparatus watching this moment is the one this entire investigation has been building toward. What does the death of 1 man actually change? The smoke is still rising over Guadalajara when the debate begins. And 3 analytical frameworks emerge almost simultaneously from the intelligence community, from security analysts, and from the governments on both sides of the border. They do not agree, and the distance between them is where the real story lives. The first position holds that El Mencho's death represents a genuine and lasting disruption. This argument does not rest on symbolism. It rests on succession. Former DEA agent Mike Vigil states it plainly. El Mencho controlled everything. The organizational comparison he reaches for is not another cartel figure. It is a head of state, a country's dictator. That framing is deliberate. It is meant to convey not just authority, but dependency. An organization built around 1 man's absolute control does not transfer cleanly. The succession evidence supports this reading. El Menchito is imprisoned in the United States. His stepson, Juan Carlos Valencia Gonzalez, known as El Pelon, is identified by the U.S. Director of National Intelligence as the de facto second in command. But analysts who track CJNG's internal command structure note a consistent problem with El Pelon's position. He lacks the command authority among senior CJNG figures that a clean succession requires. The family structure that provided both legitimacy and trust at the leadership level is absent. No one waiting in line carries the organizational weight that Oseguera Cervantes carried. Proponents of this view also point to the retaliatory response itself as evidence of panic rather than strategy. A cartel operating from a position of strength does not torch 250 vehicles across 20 states within hours of a single event. Or that is not power projection. That is an organization demonstrating, perhaps unintentionally, that it does not know what comes next. The second position is the one that most Mexico-focused analysts currently favor, and it is significantly less optimistic. The DEA's own organizational assessment of the CJNG does not describe a centralized hierarchy. It describes a franchise model. Approximately 90 semi-autonomous organizations operating under the CJNG banner across at least 21 of Mexico's 32 states. Networks active across almost every part of the United States. Eduardo Guerrero, director of Mexican consulting group Lantia Intelligence, makes the structural point precisely. Removing the top does not collapse a structure that was never fully centralized to begin with. What removal does produce is competition. 4 or 5 senior commanders are identified by analysts as the most likely candidates to contest leadership. Ricardo Ruiz Velasco, a figure known as El Jardinero, Hugo Mendoza Gaitan, known as El Sapo, El Pelon, and El Mencho's former head of security, about whom very little is publicly known. None carries unifying authority. Each leads their own network. Each has their own interests. Competition between figures of that caliber inside an organization of this firepower has a documented historical pattern. It produces violence. The third framework centers not on the CJNG's internal future, but on the political architecture surrounding this operation. El Mencho's death occurs at a precise moment in the U.S.-Mexico relationship. The Trump administration designated the CJNG as a foreign terrorist organization in February 2025. But eliminating the most wanted figure in that designated organization, with confirmed U.S. intelligence support, is exactly the kind of result both governments had institutional incentives to produce. President Claudia Sheinbaum has been publicly more militarily aggressive against organized crime than her predecessor. International Crisis Group analyst David Mora notes it directly. The army under Sheinbaum has been significantly more confrontational against criminal groups. The political incentives aligned. The operational infrastructure was in place. The moment was chosen. What remains genuinely unresolved is whether the political achievement and the operational disruption are equal in scale. The evidence does not currently support that conclusion. The symbolic victory is measurable. The practical disruption is still being assessed. Our history offers a precise parallel. 2016. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman is captured for the final time, extradited to the United States, convicted, and sentenced to life in federal prison. The Sinaloa cartel did not collapse. It fragmented. That fragmentation produced an internal conflict between El Chapo's sons and the faction loyal to Ismael El Mayo Zambada that, as of early 2026, is still generating significant violence across multiple Mexican states. The concern analysts raise about El Mencho's death is structurally identical. The CJNG is not a personality-dependent organization. It is a network of networks. Its financial infrastructure, territorial control, distribution systems, and enforcement capacity exist independently of who holds the top position. Removing the head creates chaos. That chaos is visible. It was visible within hours. But chaos in an organization of this size is not collapse, it is reorganization. And the question that no government on either side of the border has yet fully answered is what fills the space that El Mencho leaves behind, and whether what emerges from that space is more dangerous than what existed before. Nemesio Rubén Oseguera Cervantes is dead, say it plainly. A man born into poverty in a rural Michoacán settlement. No formal education, no inherited influence, no family name that carried criminal weight. He grew avocados, he crossed a border, he served federal prison time in a foreign country. He was deported, he became a police officer, he became an enforcer, he became a boss. He built one of the most powerful criminal organizations in the history of the Western Hemisphere. He carried a $15 million U.S. government bounty, and he was indicted multiple times in U.S. federal courts. He orchestrated the distribution of fentanyl, methamphetamine, and cocaine into the United States at industrial scale. Under his command, the CJNG killed thousands: civilians, journalists, politicians, soldiers, anyone who stood in its path. He evaded the combined intelligence resources of two governments for over a decade. On February 22, 2026, in the pine forests above a small mountain town in Jalisco, the Mexican army found him. He did not survive. And within hours of that confirmation, 25 National Guard members were dead in retaliatory engagements across a single state. That sequence: one man found, 25 personnel killed in response, is the most precise summary of what the CJNG actually is. Not a criminal enterprise built around a personality. A machine built to survive the removal of any single part, including its architect. Between 40 and 90 criminal organizations continue to operate under the CJNG banner across more than 20 Mexican states. Networks remain active across almost every part of the United States. No confirmed successor has emerged. A power struggle among 4 or 5 senior commanders is the most likely near-term outcome. Power struggles in organizations of this firepower do not produce stability. They produce violence. The historical record on this point is not ambiguous. The fentanyl manufacturing infrastructure that made the CJNG the DEA's highest priority does not transfer with a death certificate. The precursor chemical supply chains, the laboratory networks in Jalisco and Michoacán, the distribution corridors through border states, and these structures transfer to whoever consolidates control of them. The elimination of El Mencho may produce short-term operational disruption. It does not dismantle the supply chain. Guadalajara hosts the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The images from February 22nd, burning vehicles, empty streets, travelers sprinting through an international airport, reached a global audience already watching Mexico's security situation closely. That visibility creates pressure in both directions. On the Mexican government to demonstrate stability. On the CJNG's successor structure to reassert territorial control quickly. President Claudia Sheinbaum has publicly questioned the kingpin strategy, the framework that prioritizes the elimination of top criminal figures above broader structural dismantlement. The record she is critiquing is genuine. El Chapo is gone. The Sinaloa Cartel is not. El Mencho is gone. The CJNG is not. The architecture that produces these organizations, the poverty, the institutional corruption, the drug demand on the northern side of the border, remains intact. The families of the 25 National Guard members killed in retaliatory engagements are living the consequences of this operation in ways no policy framework adequately addresses. These were personnel who died not in the raid that found El Mencho, but in the wave of violence that followed it. Their deaths are inseparable from the strategic decision to pursue a kingpin approach whose aftermath was anticipated by analysts, if not fully predicted in its geographic scale. Ask yourself the question this entire investigation has been building toward. If removing the most wanted drug trafficking figure in the Western Hemisphere does not collapse the organization he built, does not dismantle its supply chains, does not prevent a coordinated nationwide retaliatory response, and does not produce a clear successor, what does it actually change? The honest answer, supported by the available evidence and the historical record, is this. It changes the name at the top. It does not change the machine beneath it. El Mencho is dead. The cartel he built is not. And somewhere inside that organization right now, in a room that no satellite has yet located, the next chapter of this investigation is already being written. What do you believe comes next? Does El Mencho's death weaken the CJNG long-term? Or does the fragmentation that follows make the organization more dangerous? To share your analysis in the comments below. If this investigation has given you a clearer picture of what actually happened and what it means, subscribe to the Case Files Collective and hit the notification bell. Every week, a new case. Every case examined with the depth and seriousness it deserves. The investigation into what comes next has already begun.